All right, all right, all right. It looks like we are live. What is going on, Bree Hive? Welcome back to another Bree Hive Live, and we are actually on time today. So, if you look at the thumbnail, you know that we're jumping right back into the Rush trial with Hannah Gutierrez Reed to see if she's going to be found guilty of negligent manslaughter, either by negligently or either by doing something intentionally, such as bringing the live rounds onto set, or not doing something that she was supposed to do, such as checking the rounds to make sure that they were not live rounds. And we are getting pretty close to the end. This case is scheduled to end on Friday. I don't know if it's going to exactly end on Friday because they did get a little bit pushed behind. In my opinion, there was like 2 hours where they were trying to figure out technical difficulty things like on day 4 or 5. So we're going to jump right into it. And y'all, if you saw my little YouTube tweet or whatever you want to call it, community tab post, Baldy is getting out of control. Mr. Clean, Shiny, Mr. Shiny, whoever you want to call him, Mr. Bowles, the attorney, lead attorney for Hannah, is just getting out of control. He's a little bit too spicy and feisty for me, and he's constantly misstating the testimony, which is making it very, very hard for me to watch. Let me know if you guys have any opinions on Baldy. I probably shouldn't be calling him Baldy on the internet, but here we are calling him Baldy. But it's not defamation, it's just name calling, right? If you are watching live, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let me know that you're watching live. We are going to go through a pretty heated, in my opinion, pretty heated part of the trial where Baldy was cross-examining the lead detective after she testified to the interviews that she did with Hannah Gutierrez Reed. I don't have time to go through each of the interviews because they were like a day long in themselves, going over those videos, but we'll talk a little bit about what we thought about the interviews. Let me know in the chat also if you actually watched this cross-examination of the lead detective. If you don't know who I am talking about, let me go ahead and show you. It is this lady right here who, again, not a fan of her cosmetic choices, but that's not what the trial is about. But here she is. I think she held herself pretty well on the interview stand, or not the interview stand, on the witness stand. So we're going to talk about it. Let me know if you watched her testimony and also her cross-examination on this case. And y'all, my computer is saying that I don't have any internet again. So let me know if you have any problems with my connection. Again, if you're watching live, go ahead and drop it in the chat. And if you haven't already, please do hit the like button. Let's go ahead and make our like goal for the stream. We're already at 7. We're going to make it 30. We're not going to be super ambitious today, but we do need the like button hit so that we can get more friends and get helped in the algorithm. And we get a little cheer going on when we do meet our like goal for the stream. So here we are. Let's see. Bossy the Bee coming on in to bring us into the chat to see who's here live. All right, we got Tanya D, a member. Y'all, StreamYard then updated. It shows me now who's a moderator of the channel. So we have Tanya D, member and moderator of the channel, saying, I'm finally on Pacific Standard Time. I might pop in and out, but I'll catch the replay. No problem. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I believe you said that you're on vacation this week. So I hope it is a good time for you. Tanya D says, Bossy B said, go ahead and hit that like button to support the stream. Yes, of course. Thank you for the reminder. If y'all haven't already, please do hit the like button. MB says they said closing arguments tomorrow afternoon. Really? I thought they got a little bit behind schedule, but I haven't been watching like the afterwards. I just watched the case and then I go on to the next one because I have been very behind in the live stream. I know I said I was going to get y'all some shorts and things out this weekend, but I had like a family emergency over the weekend and I haven't been able to get those things out. So we may not have the little series that I planned on doing unless I just do it late. Yeah, we'll work on, again, starting up the shorts and getting some more content out for y'all. Let me know what y'all think about me doing commentary through the community tab, because I was just watching this part of the trial and I was like, I have to say something about Baldy. I contemplated calling him Baldy in the community tab post. But I was like, I think the chat is not going to know who I'm talking about if I just call him by his names, Mr. Bowles. Baldy is acting a darn fool. So we're going to watch his cross-examination, and we're going to watch how the special prosecutor kind of gets spicy with him. And I was with her on that. And I don't know if it'll have the same effect on y'all because I watched like the whole interview and how he was doing these dumb objections or not objecting at all. But it gets really funny if you guys missed it. We got Kimmy Locker, our member and moderator of the channel, also our consultant and paralegal for the channel, helped me pull the timestamps for today. Thank you very much. Make sure y'all say thank you to Kimmy if you haven't already, because she helps the stream keep moving. We have the young legend saying greetings and salutations. Love that greeting. Welcome back to the live stream. Nice to see you tonight. Is it Nina? Nana? I want to say Nana. Let me know if I'm saying that right. Member of the channel, welcome into the live stream, saying hello, listening while I work. Well, I hope it's interesting. I'm really interested in the cross-examination. Thank you for joining us in the live stream today. Just Me MD says, greetings. Bree High buzzing in and sending love from East Texas. Welcome into the live stream again, Just Me MD. Nice to have you again today. MB says, I was surprised too because they said closing arguments on the morning of the 7th first, but today they said tomorrow. So I'm thinking the defense's part of their case is just not that long. I am really upset in how the defense handled most of their scapegoats. Like, he did not question them in the manner I thought that he was questioning them or would question them. But also, I also feel like the scapegoats, we're talking about Sara Zachry, we're talking about David Hall, we're talking about, well, I guess Joel Souza wasn't really a scapegoat, but talking about these people, if I could have guessed what their testimony would have been, it would not have been, I don't know. I don't recall that. I was like, I guess that's one way to get out of liability. Just tell them I don't recall saying that. Nope. What are you talking about? Like, are we all talking about the same case? Because I don't think Sara Zachry was in the same case. And I don't think that David Hall was in the same case. Now, I like how David Hall said, yeah, I pleaded guilty to being negligent. Why are you trying to point out that I was negligent? I already admitted to that, but my negligence does not basically override Hannah's negligence. So I thought his testimony was interesting, but Sara Zachry was like, I don't know. And who else? Gabrielle Pickles. She didn't know anything. I'm like, why did they even call her? But anyways, let's finish up with the chat. Cat Love Dreaming Peach, hello, welcome back to the live stream. Dropping a heart. Nice to see you tonight. Crystal Harris says, whoop whoop hive. Welcome back to the Bree Hive Live. Nice to see you tonight. Kimmy Locker says, Sara Zachry looked like she wanted to cry, but I wish Baldy slammed David Halls. And he didn't. He didn't do a good job. I think David Halls like really did a good job for himself. He didn't really fall for anything that the defense was doing. But honestly, the defense has not been that sneaky other than to misphrase, misstate, be confused on what actually occurred. And I think the special prosecutor did a really good job of saving this witness that we're covering today, because Baldy really tried to confuse her in saying that you said that Hannah put the rounds on the table. And she's like, no, I didn't say that. But she couldn't really come up with exactly what she did say. Basically, what she said on direct was that Hannah told me she emptied the guns and that she put them onto the cart. Whether she had somebody else deliver it to the cart or whatever it was, somehow the rounds that she emptied out ended up on the cart. He tried to say, she said that she unloaded it over the cart. That's what it was. She unloaded it over the cart, and she never said that. And the special prosecutor saved her. We're going to look at it in just a moment on fixing her statement, because I remember what she said. Okay. I remember what she said because I'm watching this thing on fast forward. So it's coming up a little quicker for me than it is for them in the courtroom. But he did kind of confuse her there. Special prosecutor fixed it, and I'm telling you, it gets spicy. Special prosecutor's like, figure it out, Baldy. I just want her to call him Baldy one time. And for anybody watching that's bald, I have nothing against bald people. His head is just like really shiny on the screen for no reason. But it's fine. It's fine to be bald. And he's just being called baldy because he's acting ridiculous. Okay. Cat Love Dream and Peach says, hi, Bria. I think not guilty, but maybe Bowles didn't convince enough people. I think that the jury, if I was on the jury, I would be so confused that he's so confused that I would say he didn't meet his case. And the thing for me, and I could be, let me tell y'all, I could be completely wrong. I'm a lawyer, but I do not do criminal law. That was just not my area of law. I do believe in the criminal justice system, but I don't believe in participating in it myself. Okay. So I could be completely wrong, but negligence is pretty darn easy to prove. I don't know if they can overcome that she had a duty and that she breached that duty. They went on like this rampage of trying to say, oh, somebody sabotaged me. And then when they questioned the people who they claimed were sabotaging them, freaking special prosecutor threw it back in their face. Like he could not handle it. Oh, did Seth Kinney tell you to throw those rounds away? No. Oh, did he convince you to throw those rounds away? No. It's like you kept asking the same questions as Sara Zachry. And didn't Alec try to implement? He tried to implement. Who was she trying to implement? Hannah. Tried to implement Hannah. Special prosecutor came back on redirect and said, didn't Mr. Baldy try to implement Seth Kinney? And the girl was like, yeah. He kept trying to point me over to Seth Kinney. Or actually on this lady. So yeah. Anyways, let's get back in it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a criminal attorney, so I'm not all the way sure if he's going to reach the burden of proof to basically put some self-doubt on there. I think all he did is put self-doubt on himself. That's my opinion. I see the duty that Hannah had. I don't think that I think that she breached that duty, and I think that her breach ultimately caused the death of Helena, and everything else that everyone did. And I think I forgot what his name was, but he was a armorer, the expert armorer that came on for movie sets. And like he said, and I completely agree with him, it was both Hannah and the person with the gun in their hands responsibility. So I think it's Hannah's responsibility and Alec Baldwin. I don't think that they have proved their theory. Oh my gosh, the theory thing. Oh, we're gonna look at it. The theory. Oh, that part really pissed me off. I don't think that they proved the theory of someone else brought the live rounds to set her up. Because even if someone brought the live rounds onto the set to set her up, she was still supposed to check the bullets. She was still supposed to check them and catch it because she's the armorer. Now, let me get into the case because I'm giving y'all all my reasonings and all the things, but I'll say this. I don't like that the armorers literally need no qualifications. Like literally no qualifications are needed. And the movie industry, maybe they'll do something about this now. And I'm pretty sure this is not the first time that something like this has happened, which is crazy. They need to put some standards in place of who can be an armorer, okay? Because Mr. Bowles, I don't think it's a good defense to say, oh, well, she was new at the job. That's not a good defense. She took the job. It's like me going into court and saying, well, clients, I made you spend $15,000, but I'm new at this. Why did you hire me? That's basically what she's saying. I don't think it's appropriate. Let's see. Okay. I think Kimmy said something. Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. Already got that one. Kimmy Lockett says Brian Carpenter. That might be his name. Let me look at the witness list that you have. Yeah, Brian Carpenter. He was the armorer guy, the expert armorer. Crystal Harris says the lawyer with the shiny head, Mr. Bowles, Baldy is what we call him here, is giving the professor from Legally Blonde vibes and Daddy Warbucks from Annie. It's the same actor. I think his name is Victor. He looks like a freaking Victor. What's his first name? Bowles. But yeah, I was talking to Kimmy before the live stream. I was like, I feel like this is like his first trial, him and the lady. I'm like, this feels like their first trial. So she goes on their website. It says, no, he's actually been the lead on over 88 trials. And it's oddly specific that he listed 88 trials. Does he just mean 89? Kimmy had me rolling. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel, and I guess I can kind of take that back, to tell you the truth, because he does know how to say certain things and kind of conduct himself in the court. He does get a little bit flustered and tries to throw in his statements and things like that to make the jury kind of question, playing dirty. But at the same time, I feel like he doesn't object to everything he should object to. And I don't know. I just feel like he's not doing a good job with his questioning, especially putting the theory on these people and not asking the appropriate questions. He doesn't stick the point for me. He's not lending his gymnastic flips for me. Cat Love Dream and Peach says, I see the management breach their duty to provide Hannah with enough hours, another full-time assistant, and a safe work environment. That is true. I don't know if you've watched Brian Carpenter, but it's still her duty. It's still her duty. If it was the production's fault, they would not have hired an armorer if we could only blame it on the production. The production is going to get there civilly. You can't send a corporation to jail. And then we have Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is also being charged with the crime as well. So we're not saying that the production does not have fault, but she was the ultimate person with fault, in my opinion. Just Me MD says, no certification required to handle dangerous weapons around hundreds of people. What could possibly go wrong? And yeah, I'm like, how do you have no standards of who can be an armorer? Okay, that makes no sense. Like, come on now. Cat Love Dream and Peach says, Jason for, I think you mean, I don't know what you're referring to, Jason. Kimmy Lockett says, my brother taught me some Latin today. Apparently, glabber loosely translate to smooth body. Okay, globber. We'll call him globber. Man, I won't remember that. Tiny D says his follow through sucks. So frustrating. Oh yeah, he has points he can make. He's just not sticking the landing, in my opinion. MV says Hannah was the last line of defense, and armorer has a huge responsibility. I agree with that. That's where I'm at too. She was like, if live rounds made it onto the set, she was the one that was supposed to catch it. And if she wasn't sure, she should have just got rid of anything that she might have thought. But I'm thinking she just wasn't checking it. Okay, let me go ahead and get into the case so we're not here all night. Let's go ahead and share our screen. And let me know if y'all can. Oh my gosh, Bree, what are you doing? I literally just closed the screen that I was supposed to be sharing. Okay. Let me know if y'all can hear it properly. Let me go ahead and close. Oh, his name is Jason Bowles. I wanted his name to be Victor so bad. I wanted his name to be Victor so bad. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in. I think I have it on 2x speed. I'll slow it down just a little bit because I be listening on crazy fast. So let's go ahead. We're starting directly with Bowles, Baldy Bowles, Bossy the Bee and Baldy Bowles. We're starting with his cross-examination. Okay, let's go. Let me know if y'all can hear it. It sounds like it's on my side, so let's see.
Did you ever discover any evidence that Hannah Gutierrez was the person who brought the live rounds on set?
I guess it'd be circumstantial.
What circumstantial evidence are you referring to?
So in her interview, I mean, there's a lot of things. So, that box, she identified in her interview when I asked her to show me what a box of hers would look like. She identified one on her phone. That picture on her phone matched exactly that box that we had. She was the one that handed that box to Lieutenant Benavidez, stating that that was the box that she was pulling from, along with, the various bandoliers that we collected with that live ammunition. She identified as bringing from her previous set that she worked on. And the other box of dummies, just it didn't match the box that she had brought. It was identified as one brought by Seth Kenny. The rounds inside that box did not, even just the dummies themselves didn't match in the way they looked. So all of this in totality is what we used in our investigation.
Did you ever discover any evidence as to who loaded the live round in the gun?
In Hannah's interview, she told me that she was the one that loaded Alex's gun.
All right. I'll pass the witness. Thank you.
And boom, there you have it. She admitted to loading the gun, so she was supposed to check it out. And doesn't look like she did.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Corporal.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bowles.
So, in your direct testimony, do I understand that you said you did not do the prop truck warrant until the 27th because, and I'm still going, because you did not have information from Ms. Gutierrez Reed about the
This
prop
part
truck?
was so stupid to me.
If that's the statement that I made.
Okay, so you stated under oath just a little bit ago that the delay in the prop truck search warrant from the 21st to the 27th was because you didn't have information about the prop truck from Ms. Gutierrez Reed, correct?
So I wasn't even the case agent at that time.
Okay, that wasn't my question. My question was, you just stated earlier in your testimony that you didn't have information about the prop truck from Ms. Gutierrez Reed, correct?
Maybe that's what I said.
Okay, and I want to show you what I'm going to.
And so the reason why I think that this part is really stupid, y'all, because he's saying that she said she didn't have any information about the prop truck on the first day. That's why she took so long to get the warrant to search the prop truck, right? But she never said she didn't have any information. And I want you to hear what the actual warrant request asked for. And it clearly shows that she learned of the information, but on the day she did not have the information to search the prop truck, or that there even was a prop truck. So this point is like completely moot for me, and it takes about 15 minutes to get through it. But I just wanted to explain that's my interpretation of it. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. So let me share the screen again.
Mark for identification as defendants O. And may I approach, Your Honor? Corporal, I'm going to show you what is marked as defendants O and ask you if you could review that and see if you identify it.
So your highlighted portion?
Just the document itself.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Yes.
What is that?
So this is the search warrant that I wrote on October 27th to search the prop truck.
Your Honor, I move admission of defendants O.
I would have an obvious objection to pages and pages of inadmissible hearsay. Would you like to approach? Or?
Yes. They're going to approach and talk about it being hearsay. The prosecution's going to win on it per usual. And yeah, so I just think that this part of the question is like really stupid. She obviously became aware of the information. How could she then file a, a search warrant if she just didn't know that there was any information? What she said is that she didn't know about the prop truck at the time that they first started the investigation, but she learned of the information.
So, Corporal, do you recall that you were the affiant for a search warrant for that prop truck?
Yes.
And when I say affiant, I mean that you swore under oath to the judge to get this search warrant that these statements you made were true, correct?
Yes.
Now, do you recall making a statement to this judge to get a search warrant for the prop truck that due to the information received from Hannah, affiant would like approval of a search warrant for the prop truck on scene due to the statement received about firearms and ammunition being stored in the truck? Do you remember making that statement?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also remember making a statement to the judge that after conducting an interview with Hannah Gutierrez Reed, she advised on the day of the incident that the crew broke for lunch, firearms were taken back and secured inside a safe on a prop truck? Recall making that statement?
Yes.
So this statement under oath, don't you agree with me that it conflicts with your statement you just made under oath in testimony?
In what way?
You told this jury earlier that you did not have information from Ms. Gutierrez Reed about the prop truck. That's why there was a delay in doing the search warrant. But in fact, you told the judge you did have information from Ms. Gutierrez Reed, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
So you're asking this jury to believe you today. Which of these statements were true? This statement or the one you told them just earlier in court?
I guess I did get a statement from her that stuff was stored on the prop truck.
Okay, will you agree with me then that the testimony you just gave under oath a little while ago was not true?
I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what I said.
Okay. You also stated that you also made a statement that Ms. Gutierrez Reed had unloaded that firearm, the Baldwin revolver, over the prop cart. Recall that statement?
Yes.
And in fact, you made that statement numerous
Okay.
times, as I recall. Do you recall making it at least once?
Yes, because that's what she had said in her first interview.
That she
Can
unloaded
you
it over the
point
prop
out to me, and I'm
put it
all
on
ears
the
if you
prop
can, because I
cart.
didn't hear it. Can you point out the timestamp where she said that about loading it over the prop cart?
I don't have the timestamp.
So he's trying to
Okay.
get like
If-
all of these little.
Do you recall Ms.
technicalities
Gutierrez Reed's
that
exact
don't even
words
matter.
in that first interview about unloading that gun?
Verbatim, no.
Okay. If I played you a clip, would it refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay. Just want me to turn this down?
Well, I'm happy to look at what he's showing. I'm sorry, I'm happy to look at what he's showing, but I also think probably the better and more complete way of handling this is to review the transcript. And I think we have numerous copies of that. So I'm not going to tell Mr. Bowles how to do his job. So show me what you're going to show her.
Well, I'm refreshing recollection.
I know, but
Sure.
show
And
us.
you show me what you're going to refresh with.
This is a clip, so if you want to play the actual video that was in it, you can do that too.
Well, you have it. She's your witness now. You do what you want to do.
Okay, if you don't want to help us out, is that what you're saying? You don't want to play?
Mr. Bowles,
Yeah.
you have it. You have computers.
You want to help
She's your
us
witness.
out?
Okay, then I'll play.
No, I don't
Yeah,
want to help
chat's
you out.
cleared
I want to refresh her memory.
I still don't know what he's going to play.
Okay, all right.
I have no idea what he's
showing
doing.
her?
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
just
wait, wait,
gonna
you're
play
not listening. What are you showing her?
I'm playing her a clip of that video that was entered into evidence.
Which one, the first
The
one?
first one,
So I
The
think
first clip,
I think
which took 50 minutes?
but it's just a short clip. It's like 20 seconds.
so he needs to show it to me. Can we just step in the
Yeah.
right
And
outside?
then, and then you don't want the jury to hear it again because you're refreshing her memory, not
It's
read.
already- Judge, it's entered into evidence.
That's not, that's not true. You're refreshing her memory.
No, but I can play it as if it's in evidence already. So
And play the exhibit.
they've heard it. Can I make an approach for a moment? Just
Yes.
clarify this?
It's so stupid. Like, he wants to prove that she said something that is absolutely not in the transcript, and that's not what she said. She just said that she put the rounds onto the prop card, not that she unloaded it over. And even if she did, maybe she made a misstatement, but is it material to what he's asking? I say no, it's not material to what he's actually asking. So let me go ahead and try to get some chats while they try to figure that stuff out. There was some chats I already covered. Let's see, I think we got that one. MV says Jason Bowles is the defense lawyer's name. Yes, that is his name. I wish his name was Victor. Tanya D says, I will say that I would find her guilty, but considering how everyone else was so lax and got immunity, I would find guilty and probation would do. Yeah, and that's one thing that they can do. They can have different sentences, right? So Tanya D is saying for the probation. Doesn't mean that she's not guilty. I think she is guilty. I think she had the most she was the one with the authority and being the armor. It doesn't matter that she was 24. It doesn't matter that she was that Alec had a big personality. And one thing, which we're not covering on this channel, but in the interview, she said, oh yeah, I'm stern. I can get things across. I don't have a problem telling people how to do things. And that's kind of some of the problems that people had with me. And then now she's coming to court saying, well, I was just a poor 24-year-old. I didn't know what I was doing. When in her own interview, she said she did know what she was doing and she was willing to kind of step on people's toes to make sure things were done properly. And I forgot there was someone else that testified to something similar. So there's that. Let's pause it right there.
Okay, Corporal, while we were kind of dealing with that, I want to come back to that question on the prop card loading. And again, because Miss Gutierrez Reed did not say that in the interview we just heard. She said she went outside with Dave Halls and unloaded the revolver. She didn't mention anything about a prop card. You agree with me on that?
I do not, because I
That's
remember her
something.
saying something about doing it over a prop card.
Which interview, the first or second we heard?
I believe it was the first, and then the second is where she mentioned that she was in 2 separate places.
Okay, and so we're going to try to find that on the first. And if you can find it, when we come back and redirect them, I want to hear it. So if you find that timestamp.
So
Now,
who wants her to
You also
find
said that
it?
you did not meet Seth
What the
Kinney
hell?
until October 27th, until the search of the prop truck, correct?
I believe that was the first time that I had met him in person.
Okay, well, you said the word, your first interaction with Seth Kinney was October 27th for the search of the prop truck. Do you recall that?
No, I said the first time in person.
Okay. And in fact, you had a prior telephone call with him, correct?
Yes.
And that was on the day of the shooting,
I think I actually had probably a couple phone calls with him before.
on that day on the 21st?
Just in between, in between the day of the incident and then to the search of the prop truck.
Okay, and we're going to talk about the day of the incident, the call that you all made to Troy Teskey. You recall that?
On the day of the incident?
Yes.
I don't recall a phone call on the day of the incident to him.
Not that afternoon around 4 p.m.?
To a Troy?
Troy Teskey?
No.
Okay.
I don't recall. I'm sorry.
Okay. And you also said that Miss Gutierrez Reed said she saw Sarah collecting guns. Recall that?
Yes.
And again, I'd like to see if you could point that out, where that is in the interview, because didn't she say instead that Sarah took stuff from the prop cart and she may have took a gun she never saw? She said she saw her.
I think the phrase that she used was that she saw Sarah collect the guns. And then later on in that interview, she kind of changed her answer.
Okay, and the jury will be able to hear that too, but I'd like to know where that is on if you know.
I can't point timestamps out to you, Mr. Bowles.
Okay. Now, you are the case agent in this case, correct?
I was not at
I
first,
can't
but a
point
couple
that
of
out.
saying yes, I was.
And so for 2 years, you've been the case agent, correct?
Yes.
Your
Now,
job,
if you
Mr.
tell a
Ball.
jury, that means that you are basically the lead agent on the case. Is that right?
Yes.
And you collect all the information, you do all the investigation, you read all the reports. Is that right?
A majority of it, yes. And then because this case was rather large, I had assistance from other detectives and the district attorney's office.
So as part of that, you collect various sources and maybe people are helping you, but you're ultimately the ultimate person with all the information in the case. Is that right?
With what's pertinent, I would say so, yes.
Okay.
But considering how many people were involved and how dynamic and everything this case was, it is kind of not essentially feasible for me to know every single piece of information. That's why people.
I think she answered that pretty good. I think this line of questioning is another stupid thing. You're like, oh, you were the lead detective, so you know every single thing that happened in this case, right? No, I know the important parts of things. I didn't have to review everything. I only had to review what was important. But he basically wants her to remember, like he wants her to live, breathe, be the case. And that's just not how things work. She has other things going on. She has other cases going on. I don't think this was a good move for him to try to say, well, why don't you know everything? Like, why don't you know everything? You don't even know what I said 10 minutes ago. And you're telling me I said something that I didn't say. So how about you, do what you preach, okay? Let's get back into it.
Sure. And let's start with the first interview and the day of the shooting. Now, you recall from your direct and from the videos we saw that you actually walked Ms. Gutierrez Reed to the bathroom?
Yes.
And you were walking her to the bathroom from when she had been detained in Mr. Benavides' car, correct?
Incorrect, because she was not detained at that point.
Okay, legality, a legal word, but she was sitting in Mr. Benavides' car, correct?
Yes.
Now, while she was sitting in Mr. Benavides' car, you knew as case agent what had happened that day was Mr. Baldwin had been allowed to walk around and talk to people.
I do not know anything that had happened with him or where he was prior.
Well, do you know, as we sit here today, the case agent, having reviewed the pictures of Mr. Baldwin on the cell phone, are you telling the jury you don't know he was out talking to people?
I'd say he was out, but at the time that I was there, no.
I'm talking about your knowledge today. Do you know today that Mr. Baldwin was not put in a police car like Mr. Gutierrez Reed?
That's correct.
Okay. And you know today that Mr. Baldwin, there's a picture of him on his cell phone talking to somebody on the day of the shooting?
Yes.
Okay. And you know that there's a video of him talking with David Halls and some other people on a truck area?
I'm sorry, is it a video with him talking with...
To David Halls?
You
I don't know that video.
Okay. In any event, she's in Mr. Benavides' car, and you're walking Ms. Gutierrez Reed to the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
And man, we saw that you went inside the bathroom with Ms. Gutierrez Reed, correct?
That is correct.
And one of the reasons you did that was you said that you felt like she might harm herself.
No, I didn't say that I felt like she was going to. It's just
bad.
typical for us, especially because she had requested me to go with her. At the end of the day, my concern is, on that day, my concern is her well-being. She was obviously very distraught at that time. I wanted to make sure that she wasn't going to have some sort of medical episode or something happen in the bathroom where I would have to step in at that point.
Did she actually ask you to come in the bathroom with her?
No.
Okay. But you went ahead and went in.
Yes, and I turned the opposite direction from her to give her privacy.
And would you agree with me that she had never met you, that that'd be fairly intrusive to go inside the actual bathroom with her?
That would be a question for Ms. Gutierrez.
Okay. Now, you felt like you were wanting to make sure she didn't hurt herself, including in the bathroom. And so you must have felt like she was very distraught.
Yes, I do feel like she was distraught that day.
And you also heard her say, did you not, that this was the worst day of her life? She didn't want to live, worse to that effect?
I don't recall hearing her saying anything that she didn't want to live.
Or she said, my life is over. Sorry, I misremembered that. Did you?
And I will object. I believe that was absolutely a misstatement of what she said on the video, and if Mr. Bowles needs to review the video, I can pull it up.
Do you recall what she said?
Verbatim, no, but something to that extent.
Okay.
She said if Mr. Bowles needs to review the video because it's a misstatement of the video, I could pull it up. But earlier when he was asking her for timestamps, she said, figure it out. You have a computer. Special prosecutor is not having a good time today. She is fed up with Mr. Baldy and his antics. His antics are ridiculous. Like I said, he constantly misstates what's said. He's misstating the video. He's misstating what this lady is saying. He goes on to misstate what a bunch of other witnesses said. I don't like him, but let me know what y'all think in the comments.
So after knowing that, you all take her back to the station, and we see yourself and Talamonte sitting around the table, correct?
Yes.
And Ms. Gutierrez Reed is in the corner on the opposite end of that table, correct?
Yes.
Now, do you remember she mentioned at the start that something about maybe she should talk to a lawyer?
Yes.
And you all told her that, or not you, but you remember hearing Talamonte tell her that it might be a public defender and it might take all night?
Yeah, something to that extent.
Okay, so with that, that statement was made to her with her asking how long a lawyer would take to get, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And then do you recall hearing that you all told her it was just going to be a few basic questions?
I did not make that statement, no, but I believe Hannah's response was that she was willing to answer a few basic questions.
Okay, and with that, she signed her Miranda waiver.
Yes.
A waiver of her Miranda rights, is that right?
Yes.
So you felt it was okay for her to do that, even in the distraught state that she was in, whereby you thought she might even hurt herself?
That's not her decision.
I don't believe I said anything about her wanting to hurt herself. Just that obviously we take care of the well-being of people.
And that's
And
not her
then,
decision
I'm sorry,
either.
what was the other part of the question?
No, that's it. You answered.
And they have the right
now,
to
during this
turn it
first interview,
down.
you did not tell Ms. Gutierrez Reed that Helena had passed, did you?
No, I didn't even know that Ms. Hutchins had passed away until essentially right before I told Mr. Baldwin.
Okay. So you didn't know at that time either.
I did not know.
Now, during the course of that interview, I think you stated actually at the end of the second interview that when people have undergone a traumatic event, sometimes they can say unusual thing. I can't remember the exact words you used.
Yeah, something about their perception or recollection after something like that could be, I guess, misinterpreted in a way.
Okay. And you've seen that in the course of your career as an officer, that after somebody undergoes a traumatic event, sometimes their memory is affected.
Yes, and that's why we conduct additional interviews.
Okay. So it's a fact. You agreed with that she had just witnessed a very traumatic, she had been through a very traumatic situation.
Right, she didn't witness it because she wasn't inside the church.
Right. So she was not inside the church. That's what you concluded based on your investigation?
And her statements.
Okay. And you were able to corroborate that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So knowing that, the statement she gave, again, those could have been impacted in some ways by her being a part of a traumatic situation.
Theoretically.
And how is that
Now,
her fault?
would you also agree with me that you
I
asked
don't get
different
his
questions in the
point.
second interview than the first interview?
Yes, I asked a lot of questions in the second interview.
It was a lot more comprehensive, correct?
That is correct.
Now, you also know that when you take an interview of somebody, that you can use that in court against them, correct?
Their interview?
Yes.
Yes.
So while you were doing that, while you were questioning her and you all were talking to her and looked like kind of being friendly with her, you knew that you could later use that one day in court.
Yes.
And again, I mean, did she appear during
What's
that first
your
interview,
point?
right before that first interview? She was in a very distraught state.
I would say that when
I'm just going to object to ask and answer. She's already testified to it.
That's fine. She's already said it. Okay. Now, in the first interview, Ms. Gutierrez Reed told you there were 3 sources of ammunition, correct?
in the first interview,
Yes.
not correct.
Okay. What did she tell you in the first interview?
That they came from Seth Kenny.
Okay. And then she later tells you the second interview, it's Seth Kenny, Billy Ray, and herself, right?
I don't know if I don't remember if she identified Billy Ray, but she did list additional sources.
Okay. And she also told you that Seth Kenny had given her ammunition for the prior movie set that she was on, The Old Way.
I don't recall her specifically saying that Seth Kenny provided that.
She didn't. She said that she brought it.
And again, you don't remember from the
that
first interview a statement that she got ammunition from Seth Kenny?
I just said that. She did say that she got it from Seth Kenny.
Okay.
She didn't just say
Did you
that. so.
try to corroborate that to pull invoices to show that Seth Kenny had brought ammunition from the to the Old Way set?
Not to the Old Way.
Okay. Now, there was talk about the idea of sabotage. And you mentioned that this came to your attention as part of this investigation, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall seeing in the first interview that Officer Talamonte
So stupid.
brings up the idea to Ms. Gutierrez Reed that the camera crew walking off, does she think one of them might have done something?
She, Detective Talamonte, did present the idea to Ms. Gutierrez about the camera crew, and Ms. Gutierrez's response was no, that she didn't think it was them, and that she wouldn't want to think that way of anyone.
And so that was on October 21st. So the first mention that you're aware of the possibility of sabotage was your fellow detective, Ms. Talamonte, correct?
That I would say is incorrect.
Well, where did you hear it before that?
Before
The 21st, before Detective Talamonte says that. Who said it before that?
that was a theory that we threw out to try to get answers, not a theory from someone that was on set.
Right. So he's trying to say, oh my gosh, your officer said that this could potentially be sabotage. Why did you not go after that lead? Because when police are asking questions, they're trying to figure out what they should go and investigate. And Hannah, being the armorer, if she really thought that she was being sabotaged, she'd go, you know what? The camera crew left because they thought I was being unsafe. So you know what? I do think that they put the bullets on my car, or they put new bullets into the gun. Him asking a question, probably just a routine question like, do you think someone else did it? Who do you think did it is basically the question. And Hannah's like, well, the camera crew left, so we were running out of things. So I think that's a valid question to ask. Do you think they sabotaged, or do you think they left something behind? That's not someone telling them, yes, the camera crew was very disgruntled and I think that they left something behind. You should really talk to them. No, that's not how it works. I think in this line of questioning, I see where he's going with it, but I think it's very stupid and it's inaccurate. So inaccurate, to say it the nice way. So let's go ahead.
Oh, so when you say we threw out a theory, what do you mean?
The sheriff's office.
So the sheriff's office created a theory?
No, again, we were trying to get answers to questions that we had as to how or why something like this would potentially happen.
So was this a ruse? You're trying to trick people? Is that what you're talking about? You created a theory? What was that? What the intent was?
No.
Okay. Well, then did you believe this theory?
Believe the theory about the camera crew?
That's
Sabotage.
the
That you
question.
threw out that the sheriffs put out? Did you believe there was some truth to that?
No.
Okay. So you put out a false theory.
And I'm going to object. She didn't put out a false theory.
No,
She didn't
they
say it in
didn't.
the interview. It simply wasn't her.
Okay. Well, then tell them not to put out a
That's the
false theory.
question.
Again, it's an interview, so we can discuss things, bring up things to, again, try to get questions answered and figure out how
Try to get an
to
idea
or where to go with our investigation.
Okay, and trying to get answers from people through a false idea. Did you ever actually
Not a
investigate the
false
camera crew? Did you
idea.
interview any of them?
Question,
I did not
did
interview
this
them.
happen?
Did anybody on your team interview any of them?
I believe Detective Joel Cano did.
How many of them did he interview?
That would be a question for Detective Joel Cano.
Okay, and you as the case agent don't know that?
No.
And you don't know what the result of those interviews are?
I would have to read his reports.
And also on that idea, you brought up the idea of Starline Brass in the second interview, and that these were appeared to be reloads because Starline Brass doesn't make live ammunition. You recall that part of the interview?
Yes.
Now you heard the special prosecutor's expert, Mr. Haig. He talked about those rounds appearing more to be reloads, the live rounds. Did you hear that testimony?
Yes, I did.
And do you agree with him that to you or that those appear to be reloads?
Well, and obviously, I have to object. It's so far outside the scope of what she could testify to. She's not an expert in ammunition. That's why we called Mr. Haig.
And, okay, I'll ask another question. Do you have any reason to doubt Mr. Haig that he's correct?
That's
Objection
his-
relevance?
Well, sure.
Go ahead.
Based on your investigation as a case agent and everything that you reviewed in this case, do you have any information to dispute your own expert, Mr. Haig?
No.
So if those are reloads, and you know what JS means, Joe Swanson, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you had known from talking to Thel Reed that Thel Reed had delivered live ammunition to Seth Kinney on the set of 1883, correct?
From his statement, yes.
Yes, and you knew that you had talked to Troy Teskey, and that he had first been holding these and given them to Thel Reed, correct?
Correct.
Now, did you investigate the idea further, given that these were reloads, to try to figure out the source of the reloads?
No, because really what's important to law enforcement were the circumstances of what occurred that day and the facts and the evidence of what occurred during the incident.
Okay, well then, Ms. Morrissey asked you earlier if you had any information as to Seth Kinney bringing live rounds on set, but what you just said is you were more focused on the events of the day. Is that correct?
That was our main focus, yes.
So is it fair to say, would you agree with me that you didn't fully investigate the circumstances of these reloads?
I would say that we investigated it.
But you did not fully investigate it because you were more focused on the events of the actual day. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Now, you also talked about earlier that it was kind of a circumstantial theory about Ms. Gutierrez Reed, but you have no direct evidence that you can tell the jury today that she brought live rounds to set.
That's correct.
I remember you had told me at one point that when you interviewed Sara Zachry, she gave conflicting information. Is that true?
I don't recall my conversation with you. I can say that I did not conduct Sarah's initial interview, but I know it was fairly short and I did a more in-depth one with her later.
Did you find in the course of those interviews, the one you did, her statements to be conflicting?
I believe that they were.
In the course of your investigation, did you also conclude that Seth Kinney had wanted Ms. Gutierrez Reed fired?
I would disagree with him wanting her fired. I believe the conversation that I had seen was that Sarah had the ability to fire her because essentially she wasn't pulling her weight.
Well, did you ever corroborate and try to investigate that with the statements of Troy Teskey and Sara Zachry?
Corroborate.
I'm sorry, I'm just confused about the question.
Okay, sure, I'll reword it. Did you interview or talk to both Sara Zachry and Troy Teskey? Did they give you information about whether Seth Kinney wanted her fired?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, you agree with me, would you not, that Ms. Gutierrez Reed was cooperative with you in terms of sitting down for interviews?
Yes.
And she was also cooperative in providing her phone?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't have to do a search warrant for that?
No, I didn't have to on anyone's essentially besides Baldwin's.
Okay, yeah. Alec Baldwin had to have a search warrant, had to go through New York, and that whole process, is that what happened?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, as part of your investigation, you concluded not only that Hannah was not in the church at the time, but that she had handed the weapon to Mr. Halls?
Yes.
And did you also conclude that Mr. Halls had handed that to Mr. Baldwin?
Yes. And I just want to specify this is before the incident.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I should give you a time frame.
Thank
So
you.
yes, you're right. That's right after lunch and right before the shooting is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And so in that time frame, did you conclude based on all your investigation?
So by statements, that is what I concluded. However, there were opposing statements at the beginning of the investigation.
Okay, there were conflicting statements at the beginning.
Yes.
Did you determine that those were not correct, those conflicting statements?
They were.
I guess I'm going to object because I don't know specifically what statement he's referring to.
Oh, sure. I'll ask you. Okay. I'll ask witness. Yes, Your Honor. Corporal, what statements were conflicting with that idea?
So on the day of the incident, I did interview Mr. Baldwin, and in his interview, he initially had stated that Hannah handed him the gun. However, later he changed that statement and said that Dave Halls had been the one that handed him the gun.
And I just would ask the court for some kind of an instruction or guidance with regard to this. Sounds like hearsay. So if it's not being offered for that, then can we iron that out?
Sure. And counsel asked to know those statements, but
Counsel what?
asked to know what those statements
Well,
were.
that doesn't mean that she opened the door for hearsay.
No, and I understand, Your Honor. And I'm just based on her knowledge of these, the effect on her and what she did investigation-wise. So
Well, Ari asked it that way.
yes. So, and I'm not trying to get into the court of statements unless people want to hear it. But I do want to ask you what certain things had an impact on you and your investigation. So that's why I asked that. How did you reconcile, and when you got those conflicting statements, what did you do to make your ultimate conclusion? Did you review additional information, talk to more people? What did you do?
Yeah, so that was, essentially the purpose of re-interviewing and gathering people's statements.
Did you also learn and conclude that Ms. Gutierrez Reed, when she handed Halls the weapon, had shown him the rounds?
Her statement was that she showed him what was in the cylinder, not that she took the rounds out.
Okay, and you also heard her say that before she put in the last round, that she had shaken it in her statement. Do you remember hearing that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you, as part of your investigation, you also were aware that numerous people had access to that prop truck?
Yes. And
that was because in the day it was not secured?
I wasn't on set, so I can't
Okay.
recall that, but
My bad. I'm going to pause right here so that we can get to some of the chats. I thought that his questioning was a little longer than what it actually is, but we'll be able to finish it in a little bit on the speed that we're watching. Let's see where we go. Yeah, probably about 30 more minutes on that. But either way, let's go ahead and jump into the chat to see what the people are saying. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, I think community service, gun classes is fine and appropriate. My question is, and I can't remember, I think someone did say that she was offered a plea deal, but it's like, why not just take a plea deal? Or was she not offered? I feel like I had conflicting things and I honestly have not looked it up from there. Kimmy Locker says to Tiny D, I agree with guilty for her role in the shooting, but I think that the tampering evidence should be dismissed. Yeah, about the cocaine. Okay. They don't have any evidence to prove that she was high. So what does it matter that she got rid of cocaine? Right? MB says, question for me. Bree, can I ask you if you have watched any of the police interviews before the trial that law enforcement did or any of the body cams? Not before the trial. I've only seen what has been played during the trial. So, no. The answer is no. Kimmy Locker says to MB, thanks for adding a cue before your questions. I got it started for Bree to answer, or started for Bree to answer with the chats. Yes, thank you. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, I do feel like there was a lot of evidence. He could have pulled up a lot of impeachments that he just missed. And he did try to pull up some things that were impeachment worthy. But at the same time, I think he focused on things that are like, okay, maybe she misstated something, but does it actually change her testimony? Not really, right? She's basically testifying to what Hannah told her. So she wasn't there. She couldn't really corroborate it. She's just only going off of what Hannah told her. So if she misstates and says she unloaded it over the car versus she unloaded it and then put things on the car, I mean, I don't think that really changes what actually happened, right? And y'all can let me know if you agree or not. So yeah, I think he could have had some impeachment, but I think that the witnesses did pretty good at being like, I don't recall. So he couldn't really stick them on the impeachment. And I think he just focused on a lot of things that, in my opinion, were a little irrelevant. So agreed with you there. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, I think there's a difference between I am assertive and I don't mind telling people what to do but they were bothered by it and they didn't listen. But she didn't say that. They didn't listen to me. The only thing she said is that she requested more training with Alec Baldwin, and then it comes out in testimony that she requested more training for a minor child, that Alec Baldwin would then be present. No one testified, and she can get up there and testify to something different, but no one testified that she asked for specifically more training with Alec Baldwin, just that Alec Baldwin would be there during one of his trainings. She didn't say, I tried to stop them from holding the gun like that. I tried to do that. It was just, I had conversations with people, we had a little spat, and that was about it. And the people that she's talking to is more directors. Okay, we need more safety meetings. That's not the same as being like, what the expert armorer said, okay, if someone, I'm telling them to do something and they're not doing it, they lose their gun privileges. It's like punishment for a child. You only get to use replica and y'all figure it out with CGI. And she did not do that. There's no testimony that she tried to take guns from anybody that wasn't doing it properly. And honestly, with the armorer expert, the videos came out where she was improperly handling the gun. So I just don't see there being a situation where she's like, okay, you're doing this improperly, other than when the guns went off and she felt like people were blaming her. Just like on the actual shooting, she felt like people were looking at her. That's all she was really concerned about, is that people were judging her. You know, I don't think that she was really being, and she can say she was assertive and whatever, but in the places where she should have been assertive as the armorer, she just didn't do it. So there's that. Chris Mullins says, to be honest, I do not actually like the prosecutor. I don't know if I like her or not. I like her more than Baldy. I can give you that. I like her more than Baldy, but she is quite feisty. Excuse me. And I think I like the fact that she is spicy. Chris Mullins says, but I do wish that Bowles would do better for his client. Yeah, he's sinking. If she had any chance, he's sinking that chance, in my opinion. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, that was very intrusive to go into the bathroom with her. That was really weird. But again, he didn't stick a point. He didn't. What was his point of saying she went in the bathroom with her? I didn't even know. Well, I was driving when I was watching that part. But so I wasn't actually looking at the screen. But what was the point of even bringing that up? Like, you went in the bathroom with her because you thought she was going to kill herself. She was like, no, I never said she was going to kill herself. I said that, you know, I was concerned about her and she asked me to go with her. And again, Hannah is grown. She could say, I just asked you to walk me to the bathroom. Can you get out? Like, come on now. Like, but no, it is weird that she did go in the bathroom. That definitely wouldn't be my first instinct. I would probably just wait outside. Chris Mullins says, I agree. She went into the bathroom and right into the stall with Hannah. Again, weird, but I don't think he stuck his point on that, because he was trying to convince the jury that, oh, she went into the bathroom with her so that she didn't kill herself. But she easily could have went into the bathroom with her so that she didn't talk to other people. She could have went in there so that she didn't dispose of evidence because she's going to a toilet. Maybe she had bullets in her pocket. I don't know. But to say, oh, because you thought she was going to hurt herself, I don't know if he really stuck that point. He didn't stick it for me. Let me know if y'all think he stuck it for you. That sounds weird. Kimmy Locker says, the cat loved Jim and Peach. And Chris Mullen, I don't understand going in the bathroom with Hannah, but not patting her down for drugs or, you know, weapons. Right. Exactly. Because she could have got rid of the cocaine in the toilet at that point if she really did have it on set. But again, the cocaine thing, if they don't have any evidence that she was high during, and I'm like, I don't even think it's that she was high during, and evidence tampering by getting rid of cocaine, and she could have potentially been high, but who cares if she wasn't really doing a good job throughout the filming? That would be my question. Kimmy Locker says, the lead investigator is a weird witness to try to impeach. If you don't know, you can land it. Yeah. And he didn't. He was like trying to impeach her on like very minute details that probably don't matter. Like whether she was standing by the prop cart or not. Again, she wasn't even there. So she only knows what people are telling her. So there's that. Cat Love Dreaming Peace says, I really don't think she had the power that she was supposed to, and that was part of the problem. You quit. That's what I'm going with the expert armorer on this one. You don't have the power you think. I understand the entertainment industry is hard to get into and all of the things, but they're not listening to, the thing is, I don't think they were not listening to her. I think she just wasn't saying anything. I'm sorry. I just don't think she was saying and doing what she needed to do, whether she had the power. I don't even think she tried to assert the power, basically, is what I'm saying. Kimmy Locker says to Cat Love Dreaming Peach, I don't think she had the power she should have, but I think she could have demanded it by packing up the guns until they listened. Exactly. I don't think she ever even tried to assert her power. And I would actually backtrack on that, because she actually asked for more armor days and they gave them to her. So I think if she would have spoke up, she would have had a lot more power than she's trying to let on to in the trial. Kat says, Breed is the hold up in the court. Breed is the hold up in the court, though. If an employer is not doing what they're supposed to, just quit. That doesn't seem legal. But the thing is, we're talking about people's lives. So if they are not doing what you need to do, and make a report. I know she's not in the union. Make a report. But again, she didn't even make any reports. She didn't make any reports. Even the accidental discharge, she didn't report. So what would be the remedy here? She has the gun. She's going to be the one that's held liable. As we see, she's the one that's being held liable. And so if they're not listening to her, and the thing is, I don't think that they're not listening to her. I think she's just not saying anything. There has not been any testimony that has come out where she has said something other than that she requested more armorer days. And then the lead person came out and said, yeah, we started off with her only having 5 armorer days, and then we upgraded it to 10. So she requested more armorer days. She got more armorer days, and said if she would have requested more because they were only a few days in, she would have then again got armorer days. No one's coming up and saying Hannah kept saying that we weren't paying attention with the guns. And again, she was mishandling the guns. I think she just did not know what she was doing. That's my opinion. Sorry, Typo Bree does that. Just quit, hold up in court when the employer is failing. She wouldn't be liable because guess what? Those camera people quit. And guess who's not being held liable? If the film wasn't finished on purpose, on time. Yeah. So same thing. If she would have quit, if she would have packed up the guns, if she would have, or at least just packed up the guns, if she would have left, they would have just hired another armorer. And if situation still happened, then she would not be liable. So yeah, I think just quitting in this particular industry, being that it's all word of mouth and whatever it is does not seem very well regulated in itself. I do think that her option was to just quit. So let me know what y'all think about that. I'm sticking to it. I'm sorry, Kat. I'm sticking to it. That was her option if they're not listening. But my thing is, I don't think that they were not listening. I think she just didn't say anything. So let's go on.
That was my understanding.
That's what your understanding was.
Yes.
And did you learn in the course of your investigation, your understanding, that it took props a while to get a prop cart to use for the weapons?
I believe it took a few days for them.
Okay. Were you aware whether Ms. Gutierrez Reed had to pull a wagon before that?
No.
Okay. You never heard that she had a wagon?
No.
Objection asked and answered.
Okay.
And who cares about a wagon?
You knew as part of your investigation that Ms. Gutierrez Reed was performing 2 jobs and had to support props, correct?
That's correct.
And she also made statements that she had requested additional training with Gabrielle Pickle. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did you also, in the course of your investigation, conclude that there was a lot of rushing on the set?
From statements provided to me, yes.
Did you also learn that whether safety meetings had occurred every day on set?
From the interviews that I conducted, it seemed pretty apparent that they were not conducted every day.
Okay. Was it also apparent to you that the safety bulletins, like for the industry, were not attached to the call sheets?
That's correct.
Did you ever find any inventory procedure or anything that Rest Productions had put together for the ammunition that was coming in?
No.
Did you find any inventory procedure in the call sheets or otherwise in production regarding the firearms?
No.
There was a gun safe on the prop truck, correct?
That's correct.
And was that safe, who had access to that safe?
It would have been Ms. Gutierrez and Sara Zachry, and it was a little unclear about Nicole.
Okay, and Nicole, again, for the jury, she was the props assistant?
Yes.
Okay. At or before the search of the prop truck that we talked about earlier, did Seth Kenny obtain the code to that safe?
Yes.
Because he was the one that let you all in on the 27th into the prop truck, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. In the course of your
Well,
investigation,
I'm sorry. I'm going to back up. He did not. Did you say the prop truck or the safe?
the safe, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was
Okay.
the safe. I meant.
Yeah, he did not let us into the prop truck, but he did let us into the safe.
And prior to that search on the 27th, between the time of the incident on the 21st and then the 27th, there was at least a few days in there where that prop truck was not secure, correct?
I wasn't on scene, so I cannot say definitively.
Well, do you know as case agent that sheriffs were stationed there the entire time?
They were not stationed there the whole time, but I know they were there at least for a couple days before I obtained the search warrant.
Okay, so at least from your knowledge as case agent, law enforcement was not present at that prop truck for at least a couple of days.
Yes, correct.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the search of the prop truck on the date of 27th and then the search of PDQ props. What date did that occur on, the search of PDQ props?
November 30th, 2021.
So November 30th, 2021, that was approximately a month and 10 days after the incident. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sure. I might be off a day if I am this close. It's about a month and 10 days, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during that time frame, from reviewing phone records, did you have a call with Seth Kinney on October 25th that lasted about 20 minutes?
I probably.
Do you recall that call, which would have been 2 days before the search of the prop truck?
I don't.
Between the time of the search of PDQ props and the shooting incident, that month and 10 days, you remember how many calls you had with Seth Kinney?
No, there were a bit.
There was a lot, wasn't there? He would call you quite a bit?
Yes.
And isn't it true that he would try to give you information and try to steer you in certain ways?
I don't believe he was trying to steer me in any way. I think that he was trying to be helpful in locating the source of the live ammunition.
Didn't he push this onto Ms. Gutierrez Reed?
Push.
Didn't he indicate that Ms. Gutierrez Reed must be the source of the live ammunition?
He probably, I mean, he may have said something to that extent.
And in fact, have you seen messages in the course of your investigation where he's trying to implicate Ms. Gutierrez Reed?
Are you referring to text messages
Yes.
between them two?
Between them two, between Sara Zachry? regarding the letters from Oldway. Didn't you remember seeing those?
Yeah, there were text messages about that.
So you would agree with me, would you not, that Seth Kenny is calling you a lot? He's trying to implicate Ms. Gutierrez Reed, whether that's by providing information what he's doing, but that's what he's doing, isn't he?
I can't make that assumption.
Ms. Zachary
I
worked
like
for
that
Seth Kenny,
answer.
PDQ Props.
Yes, I believe she was licensed under them.
And you know that right after the shooting, Ms. Zachary and Mr. Kenny had text and a phone call, correct?
Yes.
And you remember that there was words to the effect that there had been a shooting?
I believe the text message said emergency.
Emergency. Do you know what they discussed?
Yeah, we're back to hearsay, and so I went to make a hearsay objection. I can't figure out what the exception would be to this.
And again, Your Honor, I'll word it in terms of her course of investigation and the effect, and it's not for the truth. I'm just trying to find out.
Well, let's see if it meets the effect on listener. I haven't heard that yet.
I guess my concern is that what's going to happen here is Mr. Bowles is just going to get a bunch of hearsay out, the jury's going to hear it, and then maybe it doesn't have an effect on the listener, and then hearsay's just out, and then we've just broken the rules of evidence. So is there a way we can do this so that Mr. Bowles doesn't get to spend the next half an hour?
Why don't you just ask her if any text message between the two of them, what, if anything, it had on the effect of the investigation?
Yes, I was going to ask you that. And we're going to have Sara Zachry as a witness, so we're not going to. But the after the phone call and text occurred, did you learn and did you investigate whether rounds had been thrown away on the scene?
I received a statement of that.
Okay, that rounds had been thrown away on the
Right, counsel.
Okay, so he is trying to get a lot of hearsay in. Let me go ahead and jump into some chats because I've seen some things coming in here. Kimmy said, if Hannah quit and something happened with a replacement armor, she'd be a hero rather than a defendant right now. I agree. She definitely wouldn't be liable in the situation, right? Or maybe
Corporal, did you investigate
Drop
whether
rounds
rounds
on.
were thrown away?
Again, that was a statement in an interview.
And I'm not asking about the statement. I'm asking if you investigated that at all.
I'm not really sure how to, if you want to reword it a different way.
Sure. Did you try to locate rounds that were thrown away?
Over a month later,
I'm just asking a question if you tried to do that. Okay.
that statement was given over a month later.
And likewise, the search of PDQ Props was over a month after the shooting incident, correct?
Correct.
And so there would have been time for Mr. Kenny, had he wanted to get rid of evidence if he had wanted to. Is that a fair statement?
If he had wanted to.
Did you also investigate whether items had been taken from the prop cart to the prop truck after the shooting? Because Ms. Gutierrez Reed made that statement.
And Mr. Bowles, can you just tell her what statement you're referring to? I think this is not hearsay, so I think Ms. Gutierrez's statement.
Why don't you just ask if she did that without the added part, unless
Sure.
it's necessary?
Yes, and I just was trying to ask her if you investigated whether items had been taken from the prop cart to the prop truck.
Can you give a time period?
Yes, right after the shooting, before law enforcement got there.
So during the investigation, it was relayed to me that there had been firearms that were secured back in the prop truck.
And my question was, did you investigate to determine whether that was correct?
I'm not really, I mean, I'd say it was a statement given to me, and we had done a search on the prop truck.
Okay,
So-
were you able to corroborate that?
Well, I don't know exactly what guns were identified to which actor, so I can't really say.
Okay, so you didn't.
I would say that we followed up on it.
You also saw on the video where a man at the scene had reached across the crime scene tape. Recall that video?
Yes,
Recall seeing his hand that it was kind of like this, and he put it down on the cart over the tape. Do you recall seeing that? Do
I recall seeing him grab something off the cart and then putting it back.
you recall seeing his hand being behind his back and coming around sort of shaped like this, and then go over the tape onto the cart?
No,
You don't recall seeing
Your Honor, this is Mr. Bowles testifying. Mr. Bowles is testifying because he didn't get the right information from minutes.
Move on.
I will. You don't know whether he put something on the cart or whether he took something off, do you?
And I will object to foundation because this witness wasn't there.
That's why I asked her if she didn't know. That's why I said you don't know.
All right, so she's already said that she didn't.
She did.
So let's move on.
Yeah, move on.
Now, I want to ask you more about Seth Kenny. You never took his fingerprints, correct?
correct.
And you never took his DNA, correct?
That's correct.
And you also never took his phone to be downloaded like the other phones that you took, right?
That's correct.
So, Mr. Kenny, I know you mentioned had shown you certain text messages and other information, but you never got the entirety of what was on his phone, correct?
It wasn't a full extraction, if that's what you're referring to.
Yes, right. It was not a full extraction.
That's correct.
And in contrast, you got extractions of phones for Ms. Gutierrez Reed, Sara Zachry, Mr. Halls, and Mr. Baldwin, correct?
Yes, because they were on the set.
Okay. And you had mentioned that before, but actually, Seth Kenny was the primary source of ammunition to the set,
I will
correct?
object to the form of that question. It is completely contrary to the evidence that the jury has heard, and Mr. Bowles knows it.
Actually, Your Honor, I don't. And I'm asking her a question. It's perfectly permissible to ask her. If she
Go ahead and
disagrees.
ask the question.
Okay. But my question to you is, were you aware that Seth Kenny was the primary ammunition supplier to the set?
No,
I
he
wouldn't-
wasn't the
I
primary.
don't know if I would say primary, but he was a source of ammunition.
Okay. He was a source of ammunition to the set.
Yeah,
And knowing
ask the
that,
right
isn't it true that
question.
it would be possible for his fingerprints to be on the boxes or ammunition he supplied?
It could be possible.
And in fact, you submitted for potential fingerprints, those 4 blank rounds that we saw earlier, to the FBI, right?
Yes.
But you did not send any of the live rounds for fingerprint testing.
I think that was discussed with the FBI. Why?
And I understand that, but why would it be different in your understanding to send the blanks versus the live rounds?
I'm saying the blinks.
The blanks you sent for fingerprint testing, why were they different? And why could you not have sent the live round? Why is there a difference?
Do you mean the cartridges?
The cartridges.
Okay, those
I'm
aren't
sorry.
blanks.
I'm not blanks. I'm sorry. The cartridges you sent, you're right. Already fired cartridges that you sent. Why is that different than the live rounds?
That test was not requested by us.
The test.
For those cartridges?
For which cartridges?
You're talking about the 4 casings.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. So that test came from or the request for it came from Ms. Morrissey.
Okay, so the special prosecutor decided that she was going to try to test the cartridges for the fingerprints. Is that right?
Yes.
So given that, I'm just trying to figure out why the live rounds couldn't have also been tested.
I had that discussion with you several times, I believe. Right?
And the
We talked about
FBI
it.
are
Yes.
I just still wanted to ask you why those weren't submitted, because wouldn't it have been possible?
I think you heard testimony from the FBI that they wouldn't.
There was I don't think they said they wouldn't. I think they said a very low percentage.
Correct. So that, again, I had this discussion with the district attorney's office, with our crime scene technician, along with our FBI Albuquerque representative. And I believe we took it back to the lab representatives as well as to DNA and latent print testing on the live ammunition that we had found on set. So the reason why we did not proceed, which I had discussed with you, as to why we did not do that testing, was because there were several statements throughout my interviews and investigation in general that these live rounds had already been touched, handled. This wasn't day 1 of filming. I believe this was day 12. So we had already had statements that these rounds, one may have came from other movie sets, which were the ones in the bandoliers. The ones in the box had been handled by Sara Zachry, along with the ones that were in the weapon handled by Hannah and Dave. And there's just a lot of handling of those rounds that they. To us and the discussions that we had, it didn't make sense for us to do testing on those when we already knew that there were numerous people handling them. It didn't make sense, which I discussed that with you. And I also referred, if you had any issues with that going further, to discuss it with the district attorney's office.
And you had no idea when those rounds appeared on set. You don't have any direct evidence of that.
Of when they did?
Yes.
No.
So you have no idea if they appeared on day 1 or day 11.
Correct.
So given that, the statement you just made about, you really don't know that, do you? Because you don't know when they came on the set.
Again, there's a lot of people handling that set.
Well, if they appeared on the day in question, if that box had just appeared,
whether it was there for a long
then
time,
you have no idea how many people handled those, do you?
If that box had just appeared.
Yes, right.
If.
Right, you don't know.
Right.
Okay. And so you also heard Ms. Gutierrez Reed state that they would frequently use dummies, and then they would mix them out with other boxes. And I asked Popple that. Did you hear that testimony?
Yes.
And so you don't know one way or another, because you just saw the boxes as they were on the 21st, whether those were the same rounds in the same box on the 18th, for example.
That's correct.
Okay. And you wouldn't know if they had used them before and then changed them out in a different box, correct?
Who are you referring to?
Ms. Zachry and Ms. Gutierrez Reed. If they use them in the course of the day, you don't know which box they would have put them in.
That's correct.
Okay. When you went to Mr. Kenny's business to search, that was pursuant to search warrant again, correct?
Yes.
And so a judge again signed a search warrant on probable cause to search that business, correct?
Yes.
And you were looking for certain evidence of live rounds, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Did you take a series of photos at that search warrant?
Did I know?
Okay, Ms. Popple did?
Yes.
But you were present to see the various things that were there and that were being photographed.
Yes.
There was a picture that I want to show you in a moment of a box of ammo that had a steel wool in that picture. Do you recall that?
I do not, I'm sorry.
Okay, I want to show that to you.
So I do have an objection. This photo is not in evidence, and I don't know that the photo can come into evidence through this witness. Would you like to approach, or?
I want to see what he's
All
going
right.
Council, you mentioned this was coming in. So this picture is the one that we talked about.
No, I told you the other picture from Mr. Kenny was coming in during his testimony. That is a photo that you should have gotten in through Ms. Popple, and you can call her back if you want to.
Do you want to ask her if she recognizes it? If I may
Yes.
approach her? You recall? Yeah, you can make this.
Yeah.
Let's see if you recognize that box.
I can say for certain.
So you don't remember seeing this particular box and the steel wool and the rounds in here? Do you remember this from the search?
Connor asked and answered. She's already said.
Sustained.
Okay, we'll call Officer Popple back. Let me ask you this. How many times have you prepped your testimony with Ms. Morrissey?
A few.
How many times have you met with her? How many days?
I couldn't say an exact number.
Was it 2?
Now
Was it 3?
he's trying to indicate that she was
You don't know
covered.
how many days you've met to prepare.
An exact number? No, and I don't want to just assume.
Okay. Have you talked to her on the phone about it?
Yes.
Did you go over the questions she was going to ask you and your answers?
Yes.
So in essence, you practiced for today, right?
Yes.
So your testimony that you've gone over these exhibits, you've gone over what you're going to say today.
That's correct.
So when you gave those answers earlier, in fact, you knew what a particular exhibit number was. It was 48. That was something you all had discussed, wasn't it?
I don't believe the specific exhibit number, but again, she showed me when she would ask about it.
On a break?
Just now when she
Right.
would ask about it.
Sorry, I don't know off the top of my head what Exhibit 48 is, and I don't know that the witness does. So in order for this to make sense,
She didn't ask for clarification.
All
I
right.
think we're just going over this.
well, if he's mentioning me, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, she does, because she was the one who
Let's
corrected you,
move
right?
on.
Yes, I will, Your Honor. Did Ms. Morrissey correct you, or was it somebody else?
Yes, she did.
So she was there talking to you, right? Or on the phone or in person? She was the one talking to you.
Yes, it's pretty normal to prep with the attorney you're working with for a trial.
Did you help prep other witnesses in this case with Ms. Morrissey? Were you present?
No.
Okay. As a case agent, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just wondering if you were present during other interviews.
Asked and answered. She already said no.
Move on.
Now, Mr. Baldwin, I want to talk about him.
I think the judge
You
is
and Mr.
tired
Baldwin
of all
had
these.
2 phone calls that you recorded. You recall that?
Yes.
And did you have other phone calls that were not recorded?
There may have been.
Would that be unusual for in your standard operating procedures to have a call with a suspect that you do not record?
So it was a phone call. So no, we're not really required to use lapels to record phone calls.
Okay, is that true though? When you have a suspect in a shooting case, he's the one accused of shooting. If that person calls you, you're saying you don't have to record that?
By policy, no. I've had numerous phone calls where I potentially didn't have a lapel near me. They take time to turn on. So it's possible. There are probably other phone calls in this case that weren't recorded as well.
Do you remember the substance of the unrecorded phone calls?
Can you point them out? I don't.
I don't know because we don't have them recorded. I'm just wondering if you can remember any of the substance.
No.
So in the recorded phone calls, do you recall a call of 13 minutes with Mr. Baldwin, approximately, in which he was driving to Vermont?
I'm sure that there was one.
And you recall that he was,
Over here.
okay.
The judge likes, come over here, because where are you going with this, dude? Where are you going with it? Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, I appreciate you, but I don't agree that telling someone to just quit absorbs the employer for failing to do their duty. And so I'm not saying that the employer is not responsible. Like I said, the employer is going to be charged civilly. The employer cannot go to jail. The producer, I guess you could try to get the managing people of the different producing companies, like they are getting Alec Baldwin. I guess you could try to get them individually, but at the same time, then you have to pierce the corporate veil. So you can't put a corporation in jail, right? Maybe you can fine them, sure, but to put them on trial, to be subjected to going to jail, I just don't see that you can't do that, right? Unless, like I said, you're piercing the corporate veil and you're acting under the corporation to basically, and their argument is that she was sabotaged, not that, production may not have done the best job, but she also still had a job to do. So there's that. Kimmy says to Kat, I don't think Bree was saying that. She said that an employee quitting absolves the employee of liability for the employer's failure. Exactly. If she would have done her job correctly, it would have potentially led to her getting the training that she allegedly claimed that she asked for, and also leaving. If she quit, like, hey, they're not listening to me, it could have saved her from being here because she would not have been the one responsible for checking at that point.
Corporal, did you ever, and I don't want to know the substance, but did you ever talk to Troy Teskey in this case?
I believe very briefly.
And again, I don't want to know the substance of the call, but what during that call was Seth Kenny present?
I believe so.
And again, was this right around the time of the shooting?
I don't recall the date.
Okay. You, again, not getting into the substance, you did talk to Thel Reed in the course of this case, correct?
At your request.
And you did talk to him though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever talk to Joe Swanson?
I don't believe so.
On those boxes, the JS, I think you confirmed those stand for Joe Swanson?
That's what I was told, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's almost done with his questioning too, guys. So that's why he's fumbling through his papers to make sure he got everything out that he wanted to get out. But again, I don't know. Like, I don't think he proved anything in his hour or 2 hour long questioning that he really got any points across for me. What do y'all think about his questioning? And then going into the transcript of the unloading the gun over the cart issue.
So, ma'am, you recall when I started this, I asked you a question about the first interview, and where in that first interview, Ms. Gutierrez Reed had said she loaded it over the prop car. That she unloaded that gun over the prop car. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I believe I remember her saying something to that extent.
Okay, do you recall, if I showed you pages of the transcript, would that refresh your memory as to the exact words that she had said?
Yes.
I may approach?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can read those to yourself, please. And it should be highlighted.
I would request that the witness read the entire thing, not just Mr. Bowles' highlighted.
They're not, I didn't highlight them.
Well,
So,
someone from the defense team highlighted them.
okay, did you get to review them?
I am asking that the witness review all of them.
Stay focused. We're done with this.
They are not having a good time with each other, that's for sure. And you can tell it's starting to get with them. She's not being nice to Baldy. I don't know how they could maintain like a professional relationship after this, if necessary, because I don't know if Baldy actually practices in this state because he is a friend of the family. But they are not doing a good job. I think the judge is annoyed. I think they're annoyed with each other. Special prosecutor definitely does a better job with her objection. And
I didn't take note of the
She
page numbers.
courtesy gave you her transcript. You can give her the page.
I wrote it's 28 through 32.
You're not the one examining. Please let him answer.
I will
No.
request.
All right.
like they cannot get along to save their lives right now. And it's really showing. Because I mean, she's a very important witness. She's the one testifying to everything that Hannah said during her investigation, during her questioning. So the reason why prosecution is saying read the whole thing is because
Yes.
it gets to the part I talked about earlier.
Can I just read her statement?
No, it's refreshing your memory.
Okay.
You wanted to focus, refreshing your memory, so
Okay.
you can remember from memory.
What are you saying, Mr. Bowles? Are you explaining to me?
Yes, I'm saying,
What would you like, sir?
we're trying to get to the truth, that's what I think.
All right, you all ask your question.
Rah,
Let's have
rah.
coffee. Let's focus here with our caffeine and ask if she remembers what was said to her.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ma'am, do you remember now the exact words that were said?
Yes.
And what were those?
Her statement was, I took them all out. It was there on the cart too.
Okay, and again, and this is entered into evidence. Do you recall actually that she said,
All right.
is that funny?
Yes,
You
all
want-
right, you know what, we're gonna take a break. We can spare you a little. All right, please don't talk among yourselves or anyone else
I
about the
can't
other
even
people.
get through it because they're cracking up because she already answered the freaking question. And here you come again trying to add stuff in. I really just don't like Baldy. I don't think he's doing a good job at all. I think he has a little bit more across, but there's a break, and I don't think anything relevant. No, he doesn't come back up, which is interesting because they took a break and then he doesn't come back up. I remember that odd part of it. But anyways, I don't like Baldy. I'm gonna get into some of the chats and see what the people are saying. Give me 1 second to bring Bossy in. Bossy, not to be confused with Baldy, okay? Cat Love Dreaming Peach and I, we were talking about some things earlier, so I'm just gonna finish up these comments. Cat says, but it doesn't absolve the employer, and I believe they failed, and she couldn't do her job because they're failures. And saying she should quit is not the answer in a legal setting, in my opinion. If she doesn't want to be held liable, and she has different remedies as far as civil liability, but she put herself in a position to be criminally charged. You're dealing with a gun. That's the same thing. Same thing of if someone breaks into your house and you have the stand your ground law and you shoot them, you still have to answer for the fact that you shot them. Are you going to get jail time? Maybe not. But you do have to explain why you shot them. And if you get stand your ground, someone breaks into your house and they begin to run away, you cannot still shoot them. So in this setting, in order for her not to be on the stand, I think she has to quit. And like I said, and I'm not basing this on me, I'm not an armorer. I don't know what the heck they're supposed to do, but we did have an expert armorer come on and say, if that is the issue, they're not listening to her, right? They're rushing her. They're not listening to her. It's the armorer's job to slow things down. If they go over, they go over. Not a big deal. You know, it's money versus someone's life. So if she's not going to quit, then she actually needs to speak up. Those are her two options. And it does not sound like she spoke up. And if I'm wrong, let me know at a time where she spoke up. Other than asking for that extra training where it came out through multiple witnesses that it was extra training regarding a minor that was denied because they didn't want to pay for the insurance for it and they were just going to use CGI for his shooting. Other than that extra training that Baldwin would just be at, how else did she speak up? And I can't imagine her actually speaking up for any other reason because, again, she was holding the guns wrong. And there's videos of people doing wrong things with guns and her not saying anything about it. She makes comments, but not about what they're doing with the guns. So there's that. Tanya D says, I don't like the lady's permanent smile style / smirk on the face. This is what I was talking about earlier. I think that she has lip injections and maybe they're new or something that is causing her face to be like that. But I agree with you there. Kat says, I also recognize I'm the minority in my opinion. Makes sense. And I'm not saying that the employer is not liable. I'm just saying, yeah, the employer is liable, but so are you. You can't, okay. Let's say there's a person and this person is out acting outrageous and they're drunk, right? And so you decide that they're acting drunk and you feel like they're the problem. So you punch them and Bob punched them and also your employer punched them. Does that then mean that you're not liable because your employer, and let's say the employer punched first and said, hey, come join me in punching this person. Does that then mean you're not liable? Under criminal law, no, you're still liable. Let's watch verse 48, y'all. You go hang out with your friend and they do a crime with you in the car and you don't go tell the cops immediately saying you were being held hostage, you're probably going to jail for that crime too. So the producers are not the only one that's responsible. Hannah is responsible. So is Alec Baldwin. So is the production company. You just can't send a production company to jail. So in order to save herself, she has to kind of like stand up for herself. Kimmy says, the Cap, I agree that the employer failed and shares responsibility. Hannah quitting isn't about absolving them, which it wouldn't. The employer, like I said, the employer is still liable. You just can't send them to jail or criminal charges, right? Unless you pierce the corporate veil. It's about using the leverage she has. And again, if they're doing something wrong, which I highly doubt, I'm sorry, I'm getting animated about it, but I highly doubt she said anything about it. There's so much video footage of them just willy-nilly in with the guns and her not doing anything about it. Kimmy Locker says, to make them do what they're supposed to in removing deadly weapons from the set in the meantime. Right, exactly, because if she left, they don't have an armorer anymore. And if they did have an armorer, because Sara Zachry testified to the fact that she has been an armorer before, Sara Zachry would then become responsible if she missed the live round or whoever they brought on as an armorer after that. If Seth Kinney came and did it and the gun went off on him, he would then be responsible. We can't just say Hannah's not responsible because production was rushing her. And I would, if you haven't, I would highly suggest that you watch the expert armorer's testimony. I do. Let's see. Yes. Kat says, I just can't believe in any other situation where the criminal neglect on the employer's side that the response is, well, you should have quit then. If you're absolving yourself, like I said, criminal, we can come off of employer. We can come off of employer. I have literally watched criminal investigations where people have gotten life sentences because they went to a crime with a friend, employer. This person has no control over you, right? And the person says, hey, shoot that person. And you shoot that person, you're still going to jail. They hired you to stop the bullet. I'm sorry. You're not going to convince me. She's liable. Does it mean that the production company is not liable? No, they're liable too, but it doesn't absolve her. And no one's saying finding her guilty is then going to absolve other people because she can be found guilty. Alec Baldwin can be found guilty and the production companies can be found liable, which they already have, or at least they settled some things, right? Because they're liable. So no, you don't get to just get off because you have an employer. If your employer is making you do fraud or like encouraging you to do fraud, you still get in trouble for doing fraud. You have certain responsibilities. That's like me going into court. I can go examples all day. That's like me going into court and my client saying, hey, I want you to ask for $1 million. And me going, hey, you cannot ask for $1 million. You're not going to get $1 million. And me still going in and asking for $1 million. She's the one that's supposed to give the guidance on the gun part of it. So you can't, she's not absolved from liability because of the actions of other people. If there was a superseding thing, yeah, but we're talking about production is first in line. Production is first in line. They ordered the things, they're in charge for paying for it, they're rushing the set. It's her job to then slow down the set. If my boss told me to punch somebody, I'm not punching somebody. Okay. If my boss is telling me I need to turn something in at 5 o'clock and I'm not done at 5 o'clock, I'm not turning it in. You can't then say, oh, well, she, and if my boss is constantly doing that to me, okay, well, you figure it out. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. Kimmy says the Cap, I'm not making a blanket statement, but in this situation, absolutely. Armorers take drastic measures, including packing up guns to ensure safety as part of their job. Exactly. Small says, yo, hey, boss, and hi, Bree Hive. Hope everyone is well. Apologies for my tardiness. Well, welcome into the live stream. Saying I seem to have lost a day. About to catch up on 2 times BRB. No problem. Thanks for joining. Smalls, member and moderator of the channel. Welcome into the live stream. Cat Love Dream and Peach says, Seth Shady, Sarah Shady, terrible investigation, criminally negligent work environment, sole part-time armorer doing 2 jobs, being rushed by a powerful celebrity to me equals no jail time. And it's potential that she cannot get jail time, but she's still guilty. She's still guilty in my opinion. Kimmy Walker says to Kat, no jail time or not guilty. I think she would still be guilty, even if they give her probation. If not guilty, is that the only way for no jail time? They're not guilty. No, I believe in this one, she can get probation or up to 18 months in jail. Or no, I think she has to do mandatory jail. I don't have time to look that up right now. I'm pretty sure she has to do mandatory jail. Negligent manslaughter sentence in New Mexico. Involuntary manslaughter and burglary sentence includes up to 18 months in imprisonment and 5,000 in fines. I think she could still get it's up to 18 months in jail. So I'm pretty sure that means she could still get probation. You don't have to get the jail time. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm just searching while online. Kimmy says, I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure she could get probation. Yeah. Kimmy says, I'm surprised the judge lets the attorneys not snip at each other as much as they do. She was no nonsense during the pretrial motion hearing, so I thought she'd run a tighter ship. I think she's starting to get annoyed too. I think the defense is doing some nonsense, and I think she probably agrees with what the special prosecutor is calling him out on, because sometimes the special prosecutor doesn't even say anything, and she's like, move on. She already answered that, move on. Kat says, I feel that the argument, well, since they didn't provide her with what they should have, she should have quit, is a logical fallacy, circular reasoning that doesn't get the point. They failed. And it's fine that they failed, but she also failed. Yeah. I don't know what else to say to that, to tell you the truth. Kat says, Seth told her not to report the misfire to get over it because they already reported it. She's an adult. I mean, I don't know. She's an adult. Okay. Kat says the OSHA guy said that she was the one who was upset there wasn't more safety. Okay. And then that's when you go ahead and you request it, but she's saying that she's upset. The OSHA guy also said that she didn't ask for more training either. So she can be upset, but if she's not, then, doing something about it, I mean, I don't know what else we could expect there. Kimmy says the company failed and Hannah failed. I agree with that statement. Everybody failed here. There's someone that's dead. There is someone that is dead. And we're talking about, well, her producers were being bossy to her, so she shouldn't be in trouble. No, everybody should be in trouble. She didn't even have to quit. She could have locked up the guns and refused to unlock them until the set was safe. Yes, and if they fired her because of that reason, she runs that risk, but she's also protecting people. And if they do that and they fire her, she is again no longer liable. If the production then decided they still wanted to move forward and let Sara Zachry be the armorer because she has performed armorer duties before, and this still happened, Sara Zachry would then be responsible, not Hannah. You don't just get absolved because you feel like production's being mean to you. Kat says OSHA just said she was not management. She was just an employee. She had literally no power. I did not hear that in the testimony. Kimmy says to Kat, gun safety was literally her job. She had the power to lock up the guns that she provided and was responsible for it. Yeah. And like I said, she was licensed under Seth Kinney, and so was Sara Zachry. So if they decided to move forward without Hannah, Hannah would not get in trouble unless they can prove that she was the one that brought the live rounds onto set. Kat says, my issue is for her to go to jail when nobody else will, and that's not right. Some people have better lawyers. And I don't agree with that statement at all. For her to go to jail and no one else will. Someone is dead. And we're worried about someone spending 18 months, a year and a half in jail because they failed to do something. No, I don't agree with that at all. I'm sorry. Kimmy says to Kat, I agree Hannah should not be the only one held responsible. I don't think she'll be the only one held responsible. The producers are already being civilly held responsible. We can't send production companies to jail. We just can't do that, right? You can have them shut down, sure, but either way, they're paying money. That's their liability. That's as far as it goes, unless they can pierce the corporate veil like they're doing with Alec Baldwin, holding him responsible and potentially his production company responsible. And then also Alec Baldwin is charged in this case. So when is Alec Baldwin's trial? And just because other people took better deals or were offered deals, I'm not in charge of their prosecution and who gets offered deals. When is Alec Baldwin's trial? And I feel like he got another charge recently, if I remember correctly. Alec Baldwin trial. His trial is to begin jury selection to begin July 9th. So he still has his trial going forward. So they are probably going to find him liable because he's pointing guns at people, right? Yes. Oh, can y'all not hear me? It says I should be heard. Oh, that was earlier. Never mind. Sorry. Okay, let's see. Kat says, I think it's like being told you're in charge of gun safety, yet there's no standard. You're only given part-time work and unqualified people also doing the work. Again, that's like me. I'm sorry. That's like me going into, let's see what's a job I don't. Look at me going to the hospital, whether there's requirements or not. No, what's a job that you don't really need any certification for? What's a job that you don't really need certification? And the thing is, they're looking at her resume. They're basing it off of experience. I'm trying to think. What's a job that you don't need qualifications for? Shoot, listen. I am going to McDonald's, and I'm going to start working at McDonald's. And I'm going to tell y'all that I was the manager of McDonald's, and I've been watching my mom manage McDonald's since diapers. I have been on McDonald's backstages flipping burgers and watching other people flip burgers. And I also went to McDonald's University to learn how to be a McDonald's manager. And then saying the line at the drive-thru was too fast and upper management told me that I need to get burgers out in 1 minute. So I start handing out raw burger patties. And you want to tell me that they're not going to be liable? You cannot say, I have all of this experience. My dad is this person. You guys should trust me with this job. I'm telling you, I know how to do this job, and you really don't know how to do the job. McDonald's, not as big of a deal, but guess what? People can get sick from raw food, right? Are you telling me that the employee should not be responsible because management told her to get something done in 1 minute? We go to In-N-Out, or I don't know if y'all go to In-N-Out, but you go in In-N-Out, they're supposed to get those burgers out within a certain amount of minutes. You know how long I wait in In-N-Out's line? Because they can't give us raw food? So whether you're rushing or not, you still have to do your job. How long they have those clocks in there? You're supposed to get orders out. How long? Let's see how long it does. And we're going something less serious, right? But people can still get sick from raw meat. How long does In-N-Out have to deliver? Same thing with pizza delivery. We'll get it to you 30 minutes or less. Does that mean they can bring me a raw pizza because management said you have to be there in 30 minutes? No, they just lose the money, right? And same example, she just loses the job or she quits the job. I'm sorry, I'm not on that bandwagon at all. Kimmy says, the cat, there's industry standards, which is what a lot of people have testified to. I think armorers have a lot more power than standard employees because they have leverage. Yeah, because if they're not there, they can't use the guns. And if they decide to use the guns anyways, she may have failed for leaving the guns there. Kat says, thanks for a lively debate, Bree. LOL. I would be that one juror arguing with everyone. And that's fine because then the state's not proving their case. I think you're right about the negligent investigation. They did not do the best investigation. She failed because they failed. Same thing. I will make the In-N-Out argument to combat that. I don't get raw burgers from In-N-Out, even though management says it has to be out in 8 minutes. I don't know what the actual time limit is. Let's see. What time? No, they're saying what time does it open? I know there's a time limit that you're supposed to get it out, but let's say pizza, 30 minutes or less, right? Not someone in my opinion, the wrong one. Kat says, Alec Baldwin's lawyer won't be half asleep, I bet. Yeah, he'll probably do a lot. He has a lot more money to pay for the lawyers, right? Kimmy says, the cat, LOL, because he probably has nightmares about Baldwin's press interviews, right? They have to be on it. Kat says, what I don't agree with is his being able to be an armory with no qualifications. What I don't agree with is his trial being able to be an armory with no qualifications. I don't know what you mean by that. Small says, caught up in, I agree with everything Bree said about, well, everything so far, LOL, except for Mr. Shine's nickname. Mr. Clean, you mean? Baldy. Small says, LOL, great analogy, Bree. Raw burgers. Yeah, you still have to do your job, right? Kat says, I don't think that she should not be held responsible, but don't think her responsibility should include jail time. I think they all should go to jail. I don't care. I think they all should go to jail. Someone died. Sorry. Kimmy Lockett says, don't forget to like the stream. Yeah, I completely forgot. I've been into this. We're at 22 likes, but told people watching live, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. Our goal for the stream is 30 likes. Dang, I have not said that all stream, so hopefully we can make it. Let's see here. Cat Love Dreaming Peach says, well, Sarah threw out bullets. The picture of Seth's plates were disgusting. I don't feel convinced Hannah brought that bullet. But remember, there's two theories. There are two theories. It's either she negligently did not check the bullet or she brought the live rounds onto set. So that's why they're focusing. I kept being like, why are they focusing on whether she brought it? That's one of the theories. But they're both negligent manslaughter, so she can be guilty for the same amount of time, no matter whether it's that she just didn't check the gun or that she brought the live rounds onto set. So yeah, I kind of think she did bring them. She just wasn't organized. I think she did bring up. But yeah, Sara did throw away bullets. She's not on trial. She has immunity. She wasn't the best witness, in my opinion. Kimmy says to Kat, that's what I thought based on defense's opening statement that Hannah, the one who actually emptied Baldwin's gun after. I don't remember what you're referring to. Sorry. Kat says, do you remember when Domino's had drivers crashing because they had 30 minutes delivery or it's free? Did the drivers get held liable? I don't know, but they should. They should. Small said, I don't remember that though. Small says to Kat, agree. I'm also an abolitionist, though, with major bias against the U.S. criminal justice system. This, to me, is a perfect case for restorative justice because jail time helps no one. I think they all should go to jail. Jazzy G, member of the channel, welcome into the live stream, saying, just joining, but can't believe Sara was helping as an assistant and didn't know anything about guns and had done it on another movie. That one shocked me. That one, I was like, okay, these people have no standards, and this is a low budget film, and it's weird, okay? That one shocked me that she had never touched a gun and they let her be an armorer. That's why I said, if Hannah would have left, they for sure would have let Sara be the armorer, despite her negligent discharge or accidental discharge, whatever you want to call it. They would have for sure let her do it because she was also under Seth Kinney's license too. Oh my gosh. It doesn't seem like the industry standards are upheld consistently. No, because all of these people are just kind of running their own business. It's like those people that pop up on the street after the club and they're all selling you hot dogs. Like they're supposed to have a license, but do we know whether all the hot dog people have a license? No, that's what it feels like. Kat says, sorry, typos. What I don't agree with is being able to be an armorer with no qualifications. I agree with that for sure. I agree with that for sure. Kat says, Bree, you haven't convinced me she deserves jail, but I am convinced she'll get guilty. Yeah, and she doesn't have to get jail time. I think that somebody should go to jail. Somebody died. I'm sorry. And it wasn't for like self-defense or something like that. So that's why I said I think she should get jail time. Will she actually get jail time? I don't know, but I can't imagine. And it could happen. I can't imagine going through this many expert testimonies, this many witnesses, this many days of trial, and her getting probation. I would be so pissed if I was a juror that I just sat through 3 weeks of testimony and for probation. I don't know, but no, I get it. I get it. She was, not properly trained. I know they're on the internet saying apply to jobs you don't qualify for, but an armorer job is not one of those ones you should do. Apply for when you're not qualified for. But I think it is possible that she gets probation. It says up to 18 months of jail time. So I think probation is possible, but I do think that's a lot of work just to get a guilty for probation. That will probably be expunged from her record in a couple years. Let's see. She doesn't think people should be able to. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think they should have some more qualifications in actually being an armorer. I think the standard of saying you are in charge of gun safety, but you never have had to touch a gun ever in your life. It's like me going out there trying to be an armorer and I'm freaking scared of guns. Like, come on now. Smile says, how the heck did she get immunity? I don't know. I think she has a good lawyer. That is for sure. Like, they're talking about Hannah throwing away cocaine. Okay. Y'all don't even have proof that she was high on cocaine. But my girl throwing away actual dummy rounds. And her excuse was like, I don't know, I was stressed. That's what she said on the stand. She's like, I don't know, I was stressed, so I threw away the bullets. Like, what? How does that even add up? How is that a thing? But yeah, she has to have a good lawyer or something because I don't know how she got immunity. Kat says, Bree, what do you think about Sara was Hannah's boss, but also her assistant, but Hannah was her boss, but also her assistant? I thought that was weird. That did come out with Sara Zachry's testimony. I see what she means, as in Sarah was in charge of props. So what's her name? Hannah was actually under her in props, but Hannah was in charge of armorer, and then she assisted Hannah with the armorer thing. I think it's all screwed up. I think the whole thing is screwed up about it. I definitely understand how that can go on, but with armorer being under props department, but Hannah having the final say on how to use guns and whether there's going to be dummies and whether there's going to be blanks, it can happen, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Let's see here. Jazzy G says that's really ridiculous for such a serious job. Yes, and it like involves people's lives. Like, come on. They have to do better. They have to get some type of industry standard. Like the expert armorer said, it at least needs to be 40 hours for the actors. It at least needs to be 40 hours for the actors to be able to use the gun. Training every set. Don't care if you just maybe like a year certification. Maybe they can keep it certified for a year. But I think with the actors, they should at least have to do 40 hours. The armorer should also have to do the 40 hours plus some other type of training. I agree with the expert armorer on that for sure. Kat says, is it weird that Seth and the Red Corporal talked over 40 times? The Red Corporal. I was like, the Red Corporal? What is that? Yes and no. I think 40 times is a bit excessive, but also what benefit? I mean, I guess there are dirty cops. Maybe they paid her. I don't know. Don't put that out there. I'm thinking out loud here. But at the same time, they are investigating. I think 40 conversations without them being like recorded could be a problem. There's that. Kimmy says to Kat, employees who drive as part of their job are covered under agency theory, so employers are civilly liable. Okay, good information, Kimmy. But I think that people could still individually sue them, but then they just pull their employers into it. So let's see. Kimmy says, however, employees can also be civilly liable if they were negligent and are immune from criminal consequences if they break any law, speed-ins. Yes, that's what I would assume. So the employer would be responsible for basically like encouraging them to speed, but the employee will also probably be liable for doing the actual speeding, right? Jazzy G says, I think everyone turned on Hannah though. Yeah, for whatever reason, they didn't like her. For whatever reason, they said, she's the scapegoat while she's trying to make like 10 different people the scapegoat and her attorney can't freaking make it stick. Like, you cannot stick any of your scapegoats. Like, did you not hear your opening? Did you miss your opening? Or were you not there? I know the other attorney did it. Bootleg Rob did it, but you're still on the team. This was not the water I was trying to drink. It's sitting there. Jazzy G said she shouldn't have talked to the police without her attorney. Okay, let's jump on that one, because this is the first person that said something about that line of questioning. So the thing about the attorney, defense counsel tried to say, well, she was stressed and she was anxious. So did you think that was appropriate for her to waive her Miranda rights? The police does not have any authority over anybody waiving their Miranda rights except for children. You have to have the parent there unless they're being charged as an adult, blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of different rules with that. But as an adult, which we've heard a million times, and I'm glad that defense counsel has backed off of that statement, we have heard a million times that Hannah was a 24-year-old. If she didn't understand what was going on, she did kind of like stumble and say, oh, I do want a defense attorney. How long will that take? And they said, oh, it'll probably take this long. Could it have been convincing for Hannah just to go ahead and talk and not wait for a public defender? Sure. But also she could have said, okay, I'll wait. They would not have arrested her. They didn't have enough information to arrest her, right? I don't even think she got her arrested for months. So if she would have said, okay, I'll wait on a public defender, they would have let her go and then brought her back when they had her a public defender, or she would have been able to go out and hire an attorney. So, she, as an adult, should not have talked with them without an attorney. Okay? If she felt like she was too anxious or whatever, I don't care. If people say, I want an attorney, and the police will go, okay, no, all right, I have to stop questioning you. Because that's what they have to do. They have to stop questioning you once you ask for an attorney. But then if you just start rattling and talking about everything that happened of, oh, I shouldn't have done that, and I want my attorney, but this sucks, and I'm so sad, and blah, 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 they can still use that against you. You can ask for an attorney and then waive it by continuing to talk. They can't ask you questions, but they can let you talk. They don't have to say, hey, stop talking, you asked for an attorney. They don't have to do that. So yeah, I agree with you, Jazzy. She should have asked for an attorney, and they would have stopped questioning her. And that's probably what Sara Zachry did. She talked briefly and then probably asked for her attorney. Kimmy says to Jazzy G, she shouldn't have talked to them with an attorney either, because he was useless. Oh yeah, if you guys have not watched the interviews, go back and watch it. Freaking Baldy was basically killing the case that they put together. All these people did the things. Oh, and then what did you do, Hannah? Tell them what you did. He coached her, but he didn't coach her enough. Okay. He did not coach her enough. He was offering up information that does not even go with their opening and does not go with their theory now. Although he's like, oh, you guys put out a false theory. No, sir, your theory is the false one. So Small says to Jazzy, I don't know why people are still talking to the cops without an attorney in 2024. It's mind-boggling. I said the same thing. I've been watching Verse 48 like religiously for a while over the last couple of months. And it's all these gangsters, all these thugs. Do y'all not have a gangster thug meeting before you enter gangster thug world and say, don't talk to the police? Y'all hear about not snitching. Mind you, they are good at snitching on themselves and their friends, although the street code is supposed to be not to snitch. And also, those should be the first two rules of being questioned as a gangster. Don't snitch and don't talk without an attorney. I see people go in there, they don't talk without an attorney, but they ask for their attorney. They get less time than the person that snitched. And they're in a group. They're in a group, they did it together. If you ask for an attorney, they're gonna probably cut you some type of deal. Kat says, I do wonder why her dad had no power to protect her or make sure she was protected by the work standards. She wasn't union enough, and I think that came out with Gabriella Pickle, whichever version of her name she is. It almost seemed like Hannah was asking for more armor days so that she could then get protected by a union. I think she was just young and didn't really know what she was doing, and she didn't talk to any. They did keep her out of everyone that they kept separate. They did do a good job at keeping her separate. Small says, what a goofy question. Are we sure this attorney is a licensed attorney, or does he work with Attorney Broad? Yeah, he's on a different level. He's on a different level. They might have went to the same law school, but maybe they don't work together. Cat Love Jimmy P says, who do you think they will call as a witness tomorrow? I don't know. I'm actually behind. I'm only on day 7. If you missed the beginning of the stream, I had a family emergency. I did not get to catch up over the weekend and make shorts and things like that, like I had promised. So I don't know who's being called. I don't even know who has been called so far other than up till day 7. And I fell asleep listening to that earlier. Small says to Jazzy G, as much true crime as I watch, it always starts with an idiot perpetrator thinking that they do think smarter, thinking they're smarter than they are, choosing to talk to the cops and lawyers, basically thinking that they can trick these cops. And half the time, the detectives have been in law enforcement been longer than the person has been alive. And like you think you're smart. It's like your child trying to trick you and tell you they didn't eat the cookie when there's chocolate chips all over their face. That's literally what they do. Or they'll be like, oh, I didn't shoot a gun. Oh, can I do a gunpowder test on you? Sure. It's like, you just shot a gun. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? You don't have to consent to those, Like, come on now. Elon says they call They'll Read tomorrow and maybe Danny Trujillo. I don't know who that is. Trujillo. Maybe. Elon, another member of the channel, welcome into the live stream. Those are the main names on the defense list that haven't been called yet. I haven't looked at the list. So I'm here with y'all, just watching. Kimmy Locker says to Jazzy G and Smalls, right? Hannah says her dad is the industry, and I think they were arrogant. And the attorney, according to someone in the chat, I don't remember who, says he's a friend of dad's. So maybe you should vet your friends before you let them be your lawyer. This is like an excuse. I mean, this is like a lesson out of Jeanette Braun's, defamation lawsuit. Come on. Small says, I said that last week that her attorney was going to lose this case for her after the comment he made about her being on set since childhood, as if it would help instead of making things worse for her. Yeah, that's what I said. She was like, I've been in the back of McDonald's since birth. I was birthed in the back of McDonald's, so I should be the McDonald's manager. That's what I'm like. That's not helping you. And you going, oh, she was a naive 24-year-old. They should have never hired her. This is not going to help her resume going forward. Trust me. Not with this attorney. Oh, man. Small says to Kimmy, that tracks. Arrogance is almost always at the root of the goofiness, life-changing decisions / choices, that or pride, ego. Yeah, I agree with that. Kat says, breathe thug life law 101. Exactly. That should be the first class. Like, come on. Don't talk to the cops and don't snitch. Jazzy G says to Kimmy, yeah, probably so interested in how his testimony will go as far as the dad. He's not trying to save his daughter. Come on. Jazzy G says, I didn't watch much of this week, but I think she knows it's not going. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see on her face that she knows she is screwed. Her attorney is not making any points. He's not casting any doubts for me. He's not casting any doubts for me, okay? All he is doing is showing me that he's confused and he doesn't actually know his case. Not that Hannah did what she was supposed to do. She checked the rounds. She handed the gun to Dave Halls and Dave Halls took the bullets out the gun and put new ones in. Tell me Alec Baldwin did it. Tell me something. Not that she handed the gun and she walked outside. That's not part of your job. Handing someone a gun and walking outside is not part of your job, Hannah. So I think she knows that it's not going well. Like I said, negligence, you have a duty, you breach it, it costs damages. I don't see how he gets around it. Superseding intervening cause. David Hall took the bullets out and said, you dummy, Hannah, these are not the right dummies, and put his own dummies in there. That is a superseding intervening cause. Not she handed it to him and walked out so she doesn't know what happened. Come on now. Small says to Jazzy G, she has to know or she is delusional. You can see it on her face. Like before she was like kind of still, she just looks mad the whole time to me. Kimmy says to Jazzy G, what I wouldn't give to know what happened between her and the attorney that tried to his job. She probably was assertive with him. That's the only thing I can think of. Kat says they said they expect closing arguments tomorrow. Yeah, so that's what someone said earlier. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a couple of days behind. Jazzy G says to Smalls and Kimmy, LOL, yeah, the lady lawyer didn't seem much better on it. That's what I said, she doesn't even seem like she is in the room. She was asking questions and prosecution objected on, what was that, day 6 or day 7? And she's like, hold on, wait. And the judge like, no, he objected. Come over here. I told y'all have to come over here when you object. She's like, okay, and let me flip through my notes. You only have 5 questions, ma'am. What are you flipping through? What are you flipping through? I think the lady lawyer is not even there, honestly. Small says, True EO? I don't think that's how you say that. Trujillo. Whatever. I'm not going through this with you, Smalls. Not today. Small says, actually, Bree, you can try Trujillo. Words are hard. I'm not even trying with you today. Trujillo. I don't know. Whatever. Kat says Bowles is winning Kari's case. Who's Carrie? I don't know the other attorney. Is that the other attorney's name? I don't know. Jazzy G says, or Kimmy says to Jazzy G and Smalls, yeah, I was saying to Bree earlier that I can't tell if I pity or respect her for joining a dumpster fire at the last minute. And she just seems confused. I agree. Kat says, so when Dave Halls told her to leave the church, she should have taken the gun. He didn't tell her to leave the church. When did he tell her to leave the church? That testimony, I did not hear that testimony, and I just listened to it today. He said he didn't even see her leave the church, and there was no requirement that she did leave the church. I think she left the church to go do more prop stuff. Kimmy says to Kat, in my opinion, yes, armorer literally means maker, supplier, or repairer of weapons or armor. So no armorer, no weapons. Yeah, I don't remember any testimony that she was told to leave the church. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't hear it. Small says, right, where did they find these attorneys? I feel like a LawTube super fan could do a better job. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay, yeah, that is the other attorney. Thank you, Kat, for that. Small says, I'm laughing my L, going through it with me. I was trying to help me from now on. Yeah, help yourself before you help me. That's what they say on the airplane. Okay. Okay. Kat says, did he say he had to go? Because no, he didn't. He actually said the opposite, that there was nothing saying that they should leave if they're supposed to be there. No, David didn't say it. Joel said if they're supposed to be there, the COVID protocol did not require anyone to leave. And she actually had to be there. So Elin says Halls has changed his story several times. He didn't come off as credible to me. He came off as he got a deal. And the thing is, he admitted to being negligent. He admitted his part. So to me, maybe he did come off to jurors as being truthful, but I think he had a lot of rehearsing on what to say, basically to protect himself. And the thing is, he's already been prosecuted for this by pleading guilty. So I didn't really believe him. So Elin says, Hannah said she was told to leave because of COVID, but David didn't say it. So, or did Hannah already testify? I'm behind y'all, so y'all gotta forgive me. Let me know. Small says, say less. My apologies, Bree. No, it's no problem. Did Hannah already testify? Because I know Halls, and he potentially could have said it. I did not catch that, but I was also doing something as listening. So let me know if I'm wrong. Okay, y'all. We did 2 hours of live streaming. So that's all I have today. I think Baldy sucks. I don't have any legal professional word to say it. He sucks. And prosecution, although I don't think they have the best case, I also think that negligence is really easy to prove. And they haven't offered any evidence to poke holes, saying David Hall threw the gun in the air, made it twirl, made some dummies fall out, and then he pulled some out of his back pocket and he put some in there. You're not giving me a superseding intervening cause. You're not. You were supposed to check the rounds. Just because David Hall didn't make you pull out the bullets and check the rounds, you told him it was good. It was a clean gun. It was a cold gun. Whatever you told him, I don't think that absolves her. I don't think that absolves her at all. So Elin says Halls has to testify as part of his deal, so it's not done yet. Hannah said it in her police interview. Okay, yeah. So still, Dave, they were asking if that Dave said that, or maybe they weren't. Okay. So she's saying that she was told to leave. They didn't get that testimony out of Dave on the stand. So Hannah has to come forward and reiterate that thing, I guess. That statement. Kimmy says to Elin, Hall said that testifying wasn't a condition of his plea deal, so that he's there because of subpoenas. Yeah, I did hear that part too. It wasn't a part of his plea deal. He had to do a gun class, and then he's on unsupervised probation, and both sides subpoenaed him. So it's not a part of his deal to testify. Kat says, I think a better defense attorney would have been more convincing. Yeah. Maybe if Bootleg robbed and quit, they would have had a better case. I don't know. And maybe it's because Baldy had to take over at the last minute. I don't know. But he's not sticking points. And if Bootleg robbed didn't give him some pointers or his notes or whatever, I don't know. Let's see. Better defense attorney would have been more convincing if he had shown receipts and impeach more witnesses, etc., but did a very weak job so far. I agree with you. I don't think he's really hitting the points like he needs to. And he's not getting any impeachments in. And he's like focusing on little things that could be easily misstated. And he's not giving us anything to contradict the fact that she breached a duty. Elin says it's in writing in the plea deal for him to testify. I don't have that, so I don't know. Based on Bo's website, he seems to be a jack of all trades and master of none. Yeah. Like I said, it seems like he has done trials before. Not good, not well, but he has done them before, and maybe not a criminal trial. I don't know. Anyways, that is all that I have for today. I'm about to go and jump my butt in the bed. Thank y'all all for joining in the live stream. I should be live on Thursday, but like I said, I am dealing with some family things. So if I am not able to come live stream, I will let y'all know in the community tab. If you haven't already, please do hit the like button. It does help the stream out and get us into the algorithm. And I hope everyone has a wonderful night. I will see y'all all on the next live stream. Bye.